জয় রাধা গিরিধারী রাধে, জয় জগন্নাথ জয় জগন্নাথ, জয় বলদেব জয় সুভদ্রা, জয় গৌর নিতাই, জয় গৌর নিতাই, জয় গৌর নিতাই, জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ, জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ, নিতাই গৌর হরি বল, হরি বল, হরি বল, নিতাই গৌর হরি বল. So Hare Krishna everybody. Today we'll first read from Prabhupada's Lilamrita, Srila Lilamrita, and after that we'll recite two shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm sharing the screen. Before that, just allow me a few seconds. So we are reading from Prabhupada Lilamrita. It is volume 1, chapter 31, A Threat Against ISKCON. Arguing from the Vedic scripture, Prabhupada refuted the Mayavadi's claims. The individual souls, he said, was Krishna's eternal servants, and his master-servant relationship is eternal. Service to Krishna, therefore, is spiritual activity. Only by observing the Guru, however, can a disciple fully revive his eternal relationship with Krishna. The Vedic literature gives paramount importance to serving the spiritual master. He is the representative of God, direct and manifest linked to God. No one can approach God but through him. Lord Krishna says, those who are directly my devotees are actually not my devotees, but those who are devotees of my servant, the spiritual master, are factually my devotees. For hours, Prabhupada drilled his disciple. He would pose a Mayavadi argument and then ask his disciples to defeat it. If they failed, he would defeat it himself. He stressed that the relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple was eternal, not because the Guru was Krishna, but because he was the confidential servant of Krishna eternally. A bona fide spiritual master never says that he is Krishna or that Krishna is impersonal. Hare Krishna, I'm stopping here. So now, So today we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 10, verse 1 and 2. And before that, I'm sharing the screen. Just allow me a second. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirve Srinnatam Shakata Krishna Punna Savana Kirtanaha Hridhi Antasto Hi Abhadrani Vidhunoti Shuritshatam Nashto Praeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhagavati Naistiki. So today we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 10, and verse first and second, 1 and 2. The heading of this canto is the creative impetus, and the heading of this chapter, the discussion between Jadabharat and Maharaja Raghuna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So text 1. Because there are two verses and both are a bit big, so I'll read it only once. And the others who want to recite can recite after me. Sri Shuka Uvacha Atho Sindhu Shoivira Pathe Rahuganasya Brajat Ikshu Mattastote Tatkulopotina শিবিকা বাহ পুরুষান্বেষণ সময়ে দৈবেন উপসাদিতঃ স দ্বিজবর উপলব্ধ এষ পিবা যুবা সংহননাঙ্গ গোখরবদ্ধুরম বহুমলম ইতি পূর্ববৃষ্টিগৃহীত হি সহ গৃহীতঃ প্রসবম অতদ অর্হ উবাহ শিবিকা স মহানুভাবঃ. So anybody wants to recite can please do that.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please.
Ato Sindhu Saubirapate Raghunaşta Brajata Ikshu Mataya Tate Tat Kulapatina Shibika Baha Purushan Anveshena Samaye Doivana Upasadita Shah Dijavara Upalapta Isha Piva Yuva Shamaha Nananga Go Karavad Duram Bodum Alam Ati Purva Vasti Pishti Grihitai Shaha Grihita Prashabam Atad Arha Uvaha Shibikam Sha Mahanubhavaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else wants to say?
Hare Krishna. Sheshuka uvacha অথ সিন্ধু সৌবীরপতে রঘুগণস্য ব্রজত ইক্ষুমত্তাস্তটে তৎকুলীয়পতিনা শিবিকা বাহ পুরুষান্বেষণ সময়ে দৈবেন প্রসাদিতঃ সদ্বিজবর উপলব্ধ এষ পিবাযুবা সংহননাঙ্গ গোখর বদ্ধুরম বধূম অলম ইতি পূর্ববৃষ্টি গৃহীতই সহ গৃহীতঃ প্রসভম অতদ অর্হ উবাহ শিবিকাম স মহানুভাবঃ. হরে কৃষ্ণ.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Anybody
Krishna,
else?
Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. I am also trying, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please.
Pranam,
Dandot
Prabhu.
Pranam.
Shri Shuka Uvacha Atha Sindhu Saubirapate Rohuganasya Brajata Ikhumatastate Tatkulapotina Shibika Baha Purushaneshana Samaye Doibena Pasadita Sa Dijabara Upalabdha Esha Piva Juba Sanghananango গখরবদ্ধুরং বঢ়ুম অলম্মিতি পূর্ব বৃষ্টি গৃহীতৈ স্বগৃহীত প্রসভম অতদ অর্হ উবাহ শিবিকাং স মহানুভাব. হরে কৃষ্ণ.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. And can anyone please read out the synonyms, please?
Yes, Prabhu, I can do.
Yes, Mataji.
Sri Shuka Uvacha, Sukdev Goswami continued to speak. Atha, thus, Sindhu Sauvira Pate, of the ruler of the states known as Sindhu and Sauvira. Ruhu Ganasa, the king known as Ruhugana. Brajataha, while going to the ashram of Kapila, Iksu Mataya Tate, on the bank of the river known as Iksumati. Tat Kula Patina, by the leader of the palanquin carriers. Sibika Vaha, to become a carrier of the palanquin. Purusha Anneshana Samay, at the time of searching for a man, Doivena, by chance, Upashaditaha, led near, saw that Dija Baraha, Jada Bharat, the son of Brahmana, Upalabdha, obtained Esha, this man, Fiva, very strong and stout, Yuva, young, Samahannana Angaha, having very firm limbs, Gokharavat, like a cow or an ass, Dhuram, a load, Vadhum, to carry, Alam, able, Iti, thus thinking, Purva Vishti Grihitai, others who were formerly forced to do the ask, Saha, with, Grihita, being taken, Prashabham, by force, Atat Arha, although not fit for carrying the palanquin, Uvaha, carried, Sibikam, the palanquin, Sa, hey, Moha Anubhavaha, a great soul. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you very much. So translation, I'm just reading the translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami continued, "My dear king, after this, the king Rahugana, the ruler of states known as Sindhu and Shovira, was going to Kopilashram. When the king's chief palanquin carrier reached the banks of the river Ikshumati, they needed another carrier. Therefore, they began searching for someone, and by chance they came upon Jadavharat. They considered the fact that Jadavharat was very young and strong and had firm limbs, like cows and asses. He was quite fit to carry loads. Thinking in this way, although the great soul Jadavharat was unfit for such work, they nonetheless unhesitantly forced him to carry the palanquin." Now we are going to verse 2. যদাহি দ্বিজবরেষ্যেষু মাত্রা অবলোকানুগতের্ন সমাহিতা পুরুষ গতিস্তদা বিষম বিষম গতাম সশিবিরাম রহুগণ উপধারিহ পুরুষান পুরুষান অধিবহত আহো হে বোড়ারহ সাধ্যাতিক্রমত কিমিতি বিষমম উইহতে ইয়ানম ইতি। যদা হি দ্বিজবরশেষু মাত্রা অবলোকান অনুগতের ন সমাহিতা পুরুষগতিস্তদা বিষমগতাম সশিবিকাম রহুগণ উপধার্য পুরুষান অধিবহত আহো হি বোড়ারো সাধ্যাতিক্রমত কিমিতি বিষমুহ্যতে ইয়ানম ইতি। যদা হি দ্বিজবরেষ্যেষু মাত্রা অবলোকানুগতের ন সমাহিতা পুরুষগতিস্তদা বিষমগতাম সশিবিকাম রহুগণ উপধার্য পুরুষান অধিবহত আহো হি বোড়ারো সাধ্যাতিক্রমত কিমিতি বিষমমুহ্যতে ইয়ানম ইতি। Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to recite, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yada hi dija varayeshu matra avalokana anugater na samahita purusha gatistada vishamagatam sashibikam rahuguna upadharya purusham adhivahata aha hi vodara sadava atikramata kim iti vishamam upaya uhate yanam iti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
হরে কৃষ্ণ।
Hare Krishna, please.
যদা হি দ্বিজবরশেষু মাত্রাবলোকানুগতের ন সমাহিতা পুরুষগতিস্তদা বিষমগতাম স্বশিবিকাম রহুগণ উপধার্য পুরুষানধিবহত আহো হে বোঢারহ সাধ্ব অতিক্রমত কিম ইতি বিষমম উহ্যতে জানম ইতি। হরে কৃষ্ণ।
Hare Krishna. So moving to the
Hare
synonym.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Oh, okay, Mataji, please.
No, it's okay, Prabhu. Synonym. We can go synonyms.
Okay, in that case, you can read the synonyms.
Yeah.
Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Yada, when he certainly, Dija Varasya of Jada Bharat, issue matra, the measurement of an arrow 3 feet ahead, Avaloka Anugatehe, from moving only after glancing, Na Samahita, not united, Purusha Gati, the movement of the careers, Tada, at the time, Bishama Gatam, becoming uneven, Sha Sibikam, his own palanquin, Rahu Gana, King Rahugana, Upodharyo, understanding, Purushan, unto the man, Udhivahataha, who were carrying the palanquin, aha, said he, aha. Vodharaha, carriage of the palanquin, Sadhu Atikramata, please walk evenly so that there will not be bouncing. Kim iti, for what reason? Vishamam, uneven. Uyhate is being carried. Yanam, the palanquin iti. Thus, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. In translation, can anyone please read it out?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The palanquin, however, was very erratically carried by Jarabharat due to his sense of non-violence. As he stepped forward, he checked before him every 3 feet to see whether he was about to step on ends. Consequently, he could not keep pace with other carriers. Due to this, the palanquin was shaking, and King Rahuguna immediately asked the carrier, "Why are you carrying this palanquin unevenly? Better carry it properly." Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And Purport, can anyone please read it out? Or?
Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Purport.
yes. Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. No.
Okay. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Although Jad Bharat was forced to carry the palanquin, he did not give up his sympathetic feeling toward the poor ants passing the road. A devotee of the Lord does not forget his devotional service and other favorable activities even when he is in a most distressful condition. Jad Bharat was qualified Brahmana, highly elevated in spiritual knowledge, yet he was forced to carry the palanquin. He did not mind this, but while walking on the road, he could not forget his duty to avoid killing even an ant. A Vaishnava is never envious or unnecessarily violent. There were many ants on the path, but Jad Bharat took care by looking ahead 3 feet. When the ants were no longer in his way, he would place his foot on the ground. A Vaishnava is always very kind at heart to all living entities. In his Sankhya Yoga, Lord Kapila explained, Suharda Sarva Dehinam. Living entities assume different bodily forms. Those who are not Vaishnavas consider only human society worthy of their sympathy, but Krishna claims to be the supreme father of all forms. Consequently, the Vaishnava never Vaishnava takes care not to annihilate untimely or unnecessarily any life form. All living entities have to fulfill a certain duration for being engaged in a particular type of material body. They have to finish the duration allocated a particular body before being promoted or evolved to another body. Killing animal or any other living being simply places an impediment in the way of his completing his term of imprisonment in a certain body. One should therefore not kill bodies for one's sense gratification, or this will implicate one in sinful activity. Srila Prabhupada here. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you. So, Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamiyam Dadati Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sriyuta Padakamulam Sri Guru Vaishnavancho Sri Rupam Shagrayatam Shaugana Raghunatan Nitam Tam Sajivam Swadvaitam Savadhutam Puriyana Sharitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shaugana Lolita Sri Vishatan Nitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले प्रभुपादानुगामी श्री शुभ गोस्वामिने सदा दैन्यशीले शुभव्यय सर्वजीव कृपाब्दे गुरु शिक्षा सदाचार फलपाय नमस्तुते नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशोतारिणे नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिशे नमो मुखं करोति वाचलं पुंगुं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीगुरुदीनकारणम् Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to you all, the devotees, in this morning class of Srimad Bhagavatam. I am not qualified, but still I am doing this service as I have been instructed to undertake this service, and it has also given me an opportunity to purify myself. So I think, thank you all, the devotees here, and beg all your mercy, to please bless me so that I can properly glorify Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and contribute something positive in the mission of Srila Prabhupada and my Guru Maharaj for preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, a brief background for this. In this chapter, and particularly in these two verses, we find that former Jarabharat has now become, former Bharat Maharaj has now become Jarabharat, and in between he has also taken the life of a deer. So he has been forcefully now at this when he has become Jarabharat at this stage, he is pretending as a deaf and dumb person. So he has been forcefully put to accept as a palanquin carrier by the men of King Rahugana, the ruler of the Sindhu and Shogurav state. And as a carrier of King Rahugana's palanquin, the head of the carriers wanted another palanquin carrier, and to fulfill that need, the chief carrier found Jarabharat as the most likely person to do this work. So he was then forced to carry the palanquin. And Jarabharat, he did not protest much on that, but humbly accepted the job and carried the palanquin. And while carrying it, however, he was very careful to see that he did not put step on an ant, and whenever he saw one, he would stop and until an ant had passed. And because he was doing in this way, he could not keep pace with other three carriers. If we look, if you just imagine the situation, three persons are moving on one speed and one person is in a different speed. So it becomes a disturbing situation, particularly those who are in the palanquin. I'm not sure most of the people have not seen palanquin, but I have the opportunity to see it. And so they are carried by human being. So it was creating a disturbance for King, and he was inside that palanquin, and he became disturbed, and he initially chastised all the palanquin carriers, but subsequently, when realized the fault is because of Jarabharat, he chastised him. Of course, a few words before that. What I am telling, some of the things are not in this verse, but it will be in the subsequent verse. But to have a consistency, to make it relevant, I'm telling some of the other points which is not in the verse, but in the subsequent verse it is there. So he chastised him, and with the filthy language, and Jarabharat was initially he was being completely free from bodily conception, so he did not protest. He proceeded carrying the palanquin. But when it continued further, the king threatened him with punishment. And being threatened by the king, when it happened like that, Jarabharat started to speak. And initially he protested against the filthy language used by the king. And then and when the king chastised him, and the king when the Jarabharat started telling to reaction to the king immediately awakened to his real knowledge. King was, in a normal situation, everybody is under the three modes of material nature, and they think that whatever the king is a king, so he is in a mode of passion. He was in a mode of passion. He was thinking, I am enjoying why this person is creating disturbance. So he chastised him. But hearing the words of Jarabharat, he arose to his normals. He came to his senses, and subsequently, when he came to his consciousness, he understood that he has offended a great spiritually learned and saintly person. And at that time, he humbly and respectfully prayed to Jarabharat. He now wanted to understand the meaning of the philosophical words Jarabharat is telling. And with great sincerity, he begged for pardon, and he admitted that he has offended a Vaishnava, and an offender against the lotus feet of the Lord is punished by the Lord. So he realized it, and he begged for his pardon. So these are, as I have told you, these are all subsequent. It is there in the subsequent verses, not here in this verse. Now, if we look at the three successive lives of Jarabharat, initially he was Bharat Maharaj, then Dear Bharat, and now Jarabharat. It is a journey of a sincere soul to go back to Godhead. Firstly, it teaches us that when a devotee has a sincere soul and performing devotional service, He may sometimes, somehow, may fall down temporarily because of his mistake. And by the operation of, and when a person commits a mistake, by the operation of the laws of stringent law of material nature, which takes effect, he is punished, no doubt. But Krishna ultimately helps a sincere devotee to overcome all the obstacles that come in the way. And Krishna reciprocates with his devotees in a transcendental, because the devotee's devotional service is transcendental. Krishna also reciprocates with his devotees in a transcendental way. And ultimately, he becomes successful. A devotee goes back to is successful in his mission to go back to the Godhead. That in spite of all temporary hiccup that happens in between, a pure devotee has full faith in the Lord. When he is fully surrendered to the Lord, no matter what is the situation, he always depends on the Lord. He is fully surrendered to the Lord and depend on the Lord's protection. And it can be compared to a child's depending on his parents. So he is fully dependent. He does not see to himself as the doer of the things. And this situation, I think, in our daily prayers, when we pray in the morning, the Shikshastakam, the 8th verse, the last verse, Ashlisho Bapodarotam Pinastumam, Odarshanam, Marmohotum Korotuba, Jatha Tataba Vidadatulam Poto, Mot Prananato tu Shoevo Napam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says that I know no one but Krishna as my Lord. And this is the mode of a devotee. He always remains so even. It doesn't matter whether the Lord handles him roughly or embrace him or make him brokenhearted by not being present before him. He is completely free. The Lord is completely free to do anything, but the devotee is unconditionally surrendered to the Lord. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you are always my worshipable Lord. So that is the attitude of a pure devotee. And in the life of Bharat Maharaj also we have seen it. That he was, whatever mistake he has committed in his first life, as a king, in the end of his life, he is gradually approaching, he has realized it, and he is now trying to rectify it. And the Lord is helping him to get out of that situation. And that is the determination of a devotee. If we have that determination in Upadeshamrita, that is called Utsahan, a devotee should be enthusiastic that Lord will ultimately help him to get rid of his difficulty. So that is one of the things. And another thing, the Lord is always protecting a devotee if he is sincere in his things. And this is given in Bhagavad Gita also. I think yesterday also, Anamala Mataji also was told, it in verse 922 of Bhagavad Gita, Anadnos chintayanto mam yeyona pori yuvashute, tesham nitta vihuktanam yogakshema bahamyam. That means those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Here the word Shemo is very important. Shemo means the merciful protection of the Lord. Lord ultimately helps his devotee, not only helps, but it protects him. That whenever he is in problem in the devotional life, Lords protect him to pursue his devotional activities. And when he has achieved his goal in devotional life, the Lord also protects him that he doesn't fall down. Of course, as this has happened in the case of Bharat Maharaj, but Lord has ultimately protected him to go back to the Godhead. And also, whenever there is a falls down for a devotee, the Lord helps him to go back, because it is this assurance given in Bhagavad Gita 9:31, I think. That is the verse where it says, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashachante nigacchati kaunteo pratijani he name bhakta pranashati. That means Kshipram bhavati means he quickly becomes righteous. A person who has fallen down, a devotee in this material world, and particularly in this Kali Yuga, the present age in which we are living, there is every chance that one can fall down. It is not unlikely. It is very quite natural because of the surroundings in which and the circumstances in which we are living. Surrounding before the ecosystem is like that. But a devotee who is pursuing his devotional service, if he starts again his devotional service again, he quickly comes back to the right track. And that is the Kiptam Bhavati Dharmata. Shaswat Chantani, he becomes righteous immediately. And so that is the assurance of the Lord also, that if we are sincere in our devotional service, the Lord will protect us, and Lord actually protects it also. That is given in there is various example of that, and the life of Bharat Maharaj is also a great example of that. In spite of temporary hiccup, he was able to go back to the God ultimately. And another point, this is what I want to speak here. The mercy of a pure devotee is very important, the progress in devotional life. And in Vishwanath Chakraborty Thakur, normally in our devotional service, there are 9 stages, we told, Adho-Srota. But Vishwanath Chakraborty Thakur has told that Shotang Kripa is the first thing. He states that unless one has the mercy of a devotee, devotional service never starts for any person. And I think it is also correct in one sense, because any one of us as a devotee who are in practicing devotees, if we recollect our very early days, we can remember that we was a devotee was instrumental, or rather he was kind enough to help us to come to this devotional service. So that is the beginning of devotional service, by the mercy of a devotee. And if we now hear, it is also told in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastri Hoy, Lobo Matra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhi Hoy. That means Sarva Shastri means in all revealed scripture, this is the verdict, that even for a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. Only by Sadhu Sangha will be successful. And Lobo means is a very fraction of a second. So it is telling even a small association with a great devotee changes the life of a person. And there are so many examples of that. And as soon as here we see, here Jarabharat was now in a very elevated, there is a in this life, in the life of Jarabharat, when he was as a king, at the end of his life, when he was staying in the ashram, living all his family and the normal life, kingship and all that family life, he was staying in the ashram. He was not associated with devotees. That is one of the we find that was one of the missing things for him. But now this time he is now an elevated person, and he is speaking to Rahuguna, King Rahuguna, and by his association, King Rahuguna has been what you will say, he has been delivered in one sense. He immediately, when Jarabhata started speaking, we'll see it later, as I told you earlier also, that it is not there, but subsequently we'll see that when Jarabhata started speaking, the King Rahuguna immediately recognized that he's speaking with a great spiritually advanced and knowledgeable person. And Jarabhata told him that actually he is not a palanquin carrier, and nor the King Rahuguna is really a king. Because as a king, and he's also told, as a king, you are neither superior nor as an inferior. I am inferior as a palanquin carrier. These are all temporary and material positions. You see, he's speaking from a transcendental point of view. Anyone generally, people under the 3 modes of material nature, things like that I am the doer. I am doing this and I have achieved it, and I am the person to be responsible. I should take credit of that. So they try to be proud in this way. But actually, for a transcendental person who is a realized person, he knows that by the modes of material nature only, it is operating. The material nature is working under 3 modes of material nature, and one is conditioned by the body he has obtained by the operation of the modes of material nature. When a soul is attached within a dog, body of a dog, he acts like a dog. The soul is attached, has entered the body of a demigod, he acts as a demigod. Soul enters the body of an insect, it becomes insect, the behavior is like that. So by the operation of the Lord, by the operation of material nature only, it is operating, every one of us is operating, but the person who is ignorant, he thinks that he is the doer. Prakriti Kriyam, the verse is 327, I think it is in Bhagavad Gita, is there. Prakriti Kriyamanani Prakriti Kriyamani Gunan Parmeshwar Ahankara Vimurata Kartaham iti manyate. Only a person who doesn't know it, he thinks that he is the doer, but actually the Lord is the doer of everything. So actually King Rahuguna's mind was immediately changed, because he was also in a mode of passion. As a king, he was thinking that I am enjoying the things I have a right to enjoy, and this person is creating a problem for me, so he should be punished. But Jarabharat tried to make him understand that as a palanquin carrier, although he is a palanquin carrier, but the real situation of our Swarup, in Swarup, he is not a palanquin carrier, he is a spirit soul. And normally, and the power of this is the fire of spiritual knowledge that was inside Jarabharat, which he kept so far, so long, is covered with ashes, like fire is covered with ashes. Similarly, the spiritual knowledge inside Jarabharat was covered with covered, and he kept it covered. But in a situation when King Rahugana made a situation favorable for him to speak, he started speaking, and in this way he was able to ignite the spiritual fire that is inside King Rahugana. In other words, just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was told that every one of us inside has Krishna consciousness is there, but it has to be ignited. It is already inside everyone's heart. The Lord is inside everyone's heart, but only by our devotional service we can arouse that consciousness, and that consciousness can be aroused only by association of pure devotees. But another thing we have to point we have to hear also, that King Rahugana was interested to know. That is also good thing for him, because he has not acted like initially, although he was acted like in the mode of passion, he acted to threaten him. But as soon as Jarabhata started speaking, he was convinced that the person is speaking from a transcendental platform, and what he is telling is for his own benefit. But in general, in our material situation, most of the people are in a mode of ignorance and passion, and they do not know how to. They do not know what is good and what is bad for them. In most of the time, they look for things which they desire, which ultimately is not good for them. But a person on the transcendental platform always tries to give the knowledge to a person. Because they're on the transcendental platform, they see that these people are losing their human life, and this human life is being spoiled for them, because they are living a life of an animal life, and they do not know what is their real interest. But when we associate with a pure devotee, he points out to person or to anyone that the purpose of human life is different, and how we have to act. And that is what Rahugana was being taught by Jarabharat by his words. And there actually these words, there is a verse also in Srimad Bhagavatam which says, "Nate vidu shartha goti me Vishnu." People do not know that the real self-interest and highest perfection of life is to worship Lord Vishnu, but they think that material enjoyment is the goal of life. And that is, you see, whenever we see around, we see the people are mostly infected with this idea. And the more, for them, the good situation is that the more sense of enjoyment I am doing at the moment, I am enjoying the things more, means I am in a very good condition. So that is, in fact, Prabhupada has told it is an animalistic life. But only when we associate with a pure devotee, we can understand our real situation and we can advance in our spiritual path. But one thing we must always remember, that the king from the life of Jarabharat, that we should act from where we stand at the level. We should not just imitate Jarabharat. Jarabharat was given by his elder brothers previously, most abominable activities, job to perform, most abominable food to eat, but he ignored all that. But he was a liberated person, and it is not possible for all of us to do all that by, just blindly following. But we must take the essence, the shar, what we can learn from his life and how we can apply it in our life so that we can advance in our individual path of devotional service. Because devotional service, for each one of us, we are in the process of in the route of our journey. So we are at different stages. All are not in the same level, and so we should learn where we stand and want to benefit from this sort of knowledge so that we can apply what is relevant to our life and make further progress, making use of these things. And it is mentioned, of course, in I think in Bhagavad Gita, I think 40, 45, 46, 47 of chapter 18, where it says, it is told that by performing the Varnasrama Dharma, every person can progress. Sheshe karmani avirito samsiddhin lavate nara sakarmani nirata siddhin yatha bindoti tasram. He's telling, Lord is telling to Arjuna that by following the Varnasrama Dharma, the purpose, one can acquire bhakti, but one can be perfect by giving all this when we have, it is all directed towards the Lord. The Varnasrama becomes useless if we do not make it. Bhakti is the goal of that, as a goal of life. But Varnasrama is perfect when we direct it for serving the Lord. And in Srimad Bhagavatam also, Dharma Shanushtita Pungsham Vishekshana Kathashuva Na Utpadaya Jodirutim Srama Evahi Kevalam. So if the purpose of Varnasrama Dharma is just to perform our activities according to Varnasrama Dharma, then it is a useless labor. But Atho Pumbir Dijo Sishta Varnasrama Vibhagasha Dharma Samsiddhi Horitus Anushtita Dharmasya Samsiddhi Horitosam. So it means the purpose is to serve the Lord ultimately. If whatever is our activity or whatever situation we are placed in, the purpose is to enhance our devotional service to the Lord or bhakti to the Lord. And if we do that, when we associate with devotees and we hear from the life of other devotees, we should try to acquire it and in our life so that we can progress and increase our bhakti, level of bhakti. Now, another characteristics of that from the life of Jarabharat, we have seen that he did not care, what is happening outside. That is another quality of a Vaishnava, for advanced devotee. Very advanced devotees, they never look at the things in the material perspective. Most of the people, we look at the things from the material perspective. Sometimes how the person looks like, what is his identity, external identity, what he is doing, what is his position, how much money he's got, all these things. But a pure Vaishnava never looks at these things. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a nice verse on that. I think Madhya Lila chapter 8, verse 274. স্থাবর জঙ্গম দেখে না দেখে তার মূর্তি সর্বত্র হয় নিজ ইষ্টদেব স্ফূর্তি. And a Vaishnava never sees the material form of anything, whether it is moving or non-moving. Rather, everything he looks as sees the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he immediately remembers that it is his transcendental form of the Lord comes to his mind. That means he sees in everything either the Lord, presence of the Lord, or the Lord's energy. And if we can remember that in the life of Prahlad Maharaj also, when Prahlad Maharaj was a very young boy, and his father, Hiranyakashipu, has asked him that he asked him where the Lord is where. He told he is everywhere. Then he just pointed out to the pillar of his courtyard and in his room, and he told, "Is it there?" And Prahlad was very confident that he is there. And because Prahlad was seeing everything as an expansion of the Lord and his energy. So when he told that, Hiranyakashipu, you all know the story of that. He broke the pillar. Hiranyakashipu broke the pillar, and Lord appeared from that. Just to, and I think the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam is that Sattam Vidatam Nijo Vritta Bhashitam. That means to make the words of his devotee correct, Lord came from that pillar. So this is the attitude of a pure devotee. He looks everything in relation to the Lord, and he does not look at anything and from the material point of view. For him, every material thing is an expansion of the Lord's energy. And in this way, he always remains connected with the Lord, because and the Lord is also never away from him all the time. That is another way of telling the things. Lord, because they are always thinking of the Lord, Lord is always also protecting them all the time. And in a similar verse also in this, I think it is, Bhagavad Gita 6:30, there is a verse, it is that Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Chamai Pashyati Tasaham no pranashami Sachame no pranashati. That means one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, and nor he is ever lost to me. That means that is the level of a pure devotee in Krishna consciousness. And that was the stage for Bharat Maharaj has reached that stage. And that's why he just ignored the material situation he faced. And when he was told to take a palanquin carrier, he accepted it, and without any grudge, because he knows in the material world is like that, and the Lord has put him in that position. So he never has grudge for that. And that is the quality of a Vaishnava, that he ignores the material surroundings surrounding him, in the sense, because if he is put to that situation, it has been put by the Lord. So considering that way, he always remains attached to the Lord. And another thing is that, I'm not sure how much time is it. Okay, still some time is there. Krishna is seated in our heart, so he is observing what is our desire and whether we are really doing our devotional service correctly. He rewards it accordingly. If we want material things, what is called Bishoy, and not Krishna, then he will accordingly arrange for it. He knows everything, and so no one can really cheat the Lord. So he has planned for each one of us, and his plan will be ultimately successful. When we are attached to devotional service and bhakti, and we are simple and humble and non-envious in our heart, it means that we are progressing in our devotional service, and the Lord helps us to progress further. But if by our service we please Krishna, he reciprocates. And that is the taste, a higher taste, a Krishna conscious devotee always enjoys. And a devotee experiences this taste when he's progressing. When he progresses further, he can experience that taste further. And another, in the life of Bharat Maharaj, we can see that he was also non-envious to anyone. He knows the reason why is in the present condition. He did not blame others for that. As a result of his past karma, he is in that situation. I think there is a distinction. He is accepting and doing the present karma as ordained by the Krishna's plan without being attached to it. And on the other hand, if you look the life of King Rahuguna, he was attached to the result of his that he is enjoying as a inside the palanquin carried by the palanquin carriers, and he is deeply absorbed and attached to it. So this is the difference in attitude between a Krishna conscious person and a materially attached person. One is attached to the enjoyment, and materialistic person is attached to that. But a Krishna conscious person is, although he's doing the things, maybe sometimes very sincerely also. Of course, in case of Bharat Maharaj, it was a bit different. Jara Bharat, it was a bit different. He was not but he doesn't blame anyone for that, and he accepts the situation, that he knows the material world is temporary, and anything is happening will go at some point of time. Any material possessions we have at the moment, and any one of us at the moment, it is temporary, and it will go away. It may go away at any point of time. And a Krishna conscious devotee knows this, and so he is non-envious, because this is the basic difference between a Krishna conscious person and a materialistic attached person. And we can learn it from the life of Jara Bharat. And in this way, if we remain attached with the Lord, as we see from the life of Jara Bharat, then we can progress in our devotional service and ultimately go back to the Godhead. And I'll conclude by telling one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, that is 1858. Mat chitta sarvadurgani mat prasadat turishyati atho chittaham ahankaram no srasyashi vinamshati. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of this conditioned life by my grace. And if, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So one should not be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life, nor we should falsely think that we are independent of the laws of material nature, and we can act freely. No, this is not the situation. We are already under strict laws of material nature, and as soon as we act in Krishna consciousness, we are liberated from these material perplexities of life. And we should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness, he is losing himself in the material whirlpool, and in the occasion and in the occasion of birth in the ocean of birth and death. And no conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done, but only a Krishna conscious person know it. And if we do not know it, our duty is to learn from others, from a Krishna conscious person, how we should act. And they are non-envious, and they speak from a transcendental level. Like the Prabhupada, he knew what is beneficial for the people, ultimate good for the people, and he tried to give us that, tell us what we should do, and if we follow his instruction, we will be happy. So we can help him in his mission that he has tried to ensure for us. And as a part of the movement, it is our duty to spread the message of Krishna consciousness, and so that people can arouse from their material consciousness and accept Krishna consciousness and become happy in this way. Hare Krishna. So I'm stopping here. If anybody has any comments, any question, please make it, or any realization, please speak up. I'm happy to learn from all of you. Hare Krishna. In the meantime, if I have any mistake, please correct me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Govinda.
I can see the picture of how you have detailed the life history of 3 lives of Jara Bharat. Bharat Maharaj, not Jara, Bharat Maharaj. the three stages, how it has been evolved. And we can see from this text, you have nicely picturized the whole things to understand the life of Jaravat, understanding from the life of Jaravat, how one person can be elevated, can be ruined, or can be given lessons in between. So all these three stages shows us our determination to perform the devotional activities in what way and what are the parameters need to be followed during the performance of our regular devotional activities. So from the first picture, second and third, we can see Bharat Maharaj was a king, and then because of his attachment, he fell down to a stage of, the, as you said, dear Bharat Maharaj. And then the third stage is Jaraval. So all these two stages teaches us our our uh, uh,
Learning
our
to
inclination towards devotional service, how it act. As you mentioned that from Srimad Bhagavatam 8 and 1.2.8 and 13. That's what indicates this. So whatever you do, you need to be very, very careful. Only by the mercy of the Lord, you can progress in your spiritual life. Who is the merciful person? It is your senior devotee, your spiritual master, because the spiritual master is the representative of the Lord. So we must be very, very careful about our dealing with the spiritual master, not to take them in a very lenient way that whatever instruction he gives is just an instruction. No. If we use that notion in understanding the instruction of spiritual master, these will be the stages, and that is how Bharat Maharaj shows us through his uh, life life that we need to be very, very careful in performing our devotional service. Anything go beyond the rules and regulation, you can face the consequences, as you can see. So another thing, and in this text, how we can understand a great devotee, which is all the qualification, whereas the 20 qualification of a great devotee,
yeah.
where this ahimsa is one of the most important thing, need to be understood. To become humble, you need to be ahimsa, non-violent. Otherwise, that quality doesn't arise. And this is how Bharat Maharaj is showing. He was so much so humble, even he didn't try to step on the ants moving on the floor and he was trying to escape out of those ants by the feeling which causes disturbance to the uh, Rahuguna, King Rahuguna. So these are the quality of a devotee, specific quality of a devotee need to revive by the association, by the instruction of the spiritual master and the books. So all these three things tells us to be in the line of disciplic succession to make our life very, very prosperous in devotional service. Otherwise, it can become text 8 of 1.2. Dharma Shamsisha Pumsha Vipikshana Katashuya Na Utpadeti Ratim Samayevi Kevalam. Otherwise, you will be gaining nothing. So, thank you very much for explaining this text, though it looks very simple, but is very deep. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavata. Thank you very much for your kind words. Anybody else wants to make any comments of any realization on that? Hare Krishna, anybody else? Okay. So it appears there is no other person to make any comments. So can you conclude the class now?
Vancha kalpatarivasya kripa
त्वमेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय His Grace अभय चरण प्रभु की जय शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल all glories to assembled devotees
All
Hare
this to
Krishna
the
thank you
assembled
very
devotees.
much
Hare
thank you
Krishna.
Prabhu Hare Krishna thank you for your nice class Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavad Pranam.
धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.